What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hoops and Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, and today we're just going to be discussing the Memphis Grizzlies and how not having Ja so far this season has affected them. So let's get right into this episode. So for those who don't know, which if you don't, then that's pretty crazy because everybody's been talking about it. But for those who don't know, Ja Morant is out for the Grizzlies. Obviously, he's their star player. And that's definitely caused them quite a bit of ruckus, I guess you could say, this season. And they've also have Steven Adams out for quite a while, who is out with a knee injury, and he's getting surgery done to it. And we'll start off by talking about the team leaders. So we have, for points, we have Desmond Bane averaging 25.5 points. So I'll just round all of them up. So we'll say 26 points for Desmond Bane, which is great in the first 12 games. But they do start off their season 3-9 and fourth in their division, which is second to last in the division with the Pelicans, Spurs, Mavs, and Rockets. So they are the fourth best out of those other four teams and them. So we have Desmond Bane at 26 points. Like I said, I've said that in previous videos. Desmond Bane is playing that leader role, I feel, for this Grizzlies team with the absence of Ja. And he'll probably continue to play that leader role until Ja returns. And maybe he'll even be like a kind of like a co-captain to Ja Morant once he comes back, along with probably Jaren Jackson Jr., I'd say. And for their rebounding, they have Jaren Jackson leading with only 6 rebounds. So I'm not really sure how ESPN has it broken down, because it shows that Bismack Biyombo averages 9 rebounds, but he's also only played 7 games. So it might just be the players that have played all the games. But we'll say Bismack Biyombo at 9, and then they have Jaren at 6, who is listed as the leader. And they also have Xavier Tillman at 7, who has only played 7 games. So I'm going out on a limb and saying that it's because they only have played 7 games and Jaren's played 12. But for assists, they have Marcus Smart at 5 assists. So they're lacking the assist game, and he is the true leader. Like, there's nobody else that is higher than him that's played less games. But yeah, he's only at 5, which is, I'd say that's pretty low. I mean, definitely should try to get more action in the assist game for this Grizzlies team. And then they have Marcus Smart again with 2 steals per game, which is really good. Obviously, a former defensive player of the year. And Desmond Bane is pretty good at with stealing the ball too. He's at 1.4, so he got one steal a game. And let's see here. They have Jaren Jackson at 2 blocks a game, which is pretty good. And Jaren Jackson actually has been playing great defense the last couple of years. I'm gonna go look at last year's stats, if I can find them. I want to see what he was averaging last year for blocks. So this year, like I said, he's averaging 2 blocks. Last year, he averaged 3 blocks, and the year before that, he averaged 2. And then the year before that was 2, the year before that was 2, and the year before that was 1. So in his rookie season, he was averaging 1 block per game. And then after that, it's been 2 every other season. So he's a great shot blocker for that Grizzlies team. And there's been a couple seasons where he even averaged a steal as well. Like last season, he was a great defensive player, 3 blocks and a steal a game. Great defensive numbers. But Jaren quite often has lacked rebounding. The highest rebounding numbers he's ever put up was 7 rebounds per game, which for a big, it's not terrible, but it's not great at all. So they definitely aren't great on the rebounding aspect of the game and the assists aspect of the game, but they do have great defensive players. Like I said, Marcus Smart and Jaren Jackson Jr. and even Desmond Bane is solid. And that's really it for the leaders at the stats. So moving on, I think going forward, this, like I said, this team is 3-9, which is pretty bad to start off your season 3-9. But they do have a pretty young team. They have quite a few younger players. David Roddy's young, and he looks like he's gonna be a pretty solid role player for them. They have Santi Aldama, who's doing pretty well in the 6 games he played, and he's averaging 13 points. Pretty solid player. And Zaire Williams is younger. Xavier Tillman's younger. Desmond Bane is young. They have young Kenneth Lofton Jr. He's a player that I think is very underrated, very overlooked. And I think that he definitely has potential to be a solid role player in the NBA. Kenneth Lofton has played 8 games, and he's a really big guy. So I think that even though he's shorter, his size makes up for it, and he can play like a big. So I think that he is definitely somebody to watch out for. He could potentially be a solid player for this team. And I think that's pretty much it for the younger player. And then obviously Ja Morant, and Jaren's not too old, but Ja Morant is obviously their best younger player, and then Desmond Bane is another pretty great young player for them. And like I said, Desmond Bane has been going crazy lately, but like 25 points a game is very good. And I want to see what he was averaging last year as well, because I want to see if he might win Most Improved Player of the Year. Let's see here. Last season he was doing really well too. Last season he was averaging 21.5 points per game. So that's pretty good for him, especially with having Ja alongside him. So I think that I don't think he'll be a Most Improved Player of the Year, but he's playing not consistent. He's playing a lot better than he was last year, with like a 4-point jump in points per game. So sorry the video cut off there, but as I was saying, Desmond Bane has had a pretty good jump in points per game, but definitely not good enough to win Most Improved Player of the Year. But as a team, this Grizzlies organization is averaging 109.4 points per game, which is not insanely crazy. And they're at 10.9, so we'll say 11 offensive rebounds per game and 31 defensive rebounds per game. So their offensive rebounding game is not well, and they could definitely improve there. But they are getting a total of 42 rebounds per game and only 24.5 assists, so 25. And they're at 8 steals, which is pretty solid. And they also have 6 blocks per game with 14 turnovers. That's a pretty decent amount. with Marcus Smart leading that with almost 4 turnovers a game and 22 fouls a game. So they're playing a very intense game, I guess you could say. And as for their shooting, they're decent. As a team, they're 34% on three-pointers made. And from the free throw line as a team, they're 77%, which is not great, but that's just a couple players that are tearing them down. And the mid-range is 51%. So, they're okay. They're an okay shooting team, but like I said, once Ja comes back, that should all change and turn around and become a better situation for them. But as for what I believe they should do with moving forward with Ja Morant, I think that go ahead and give him one more chance. But if he messes up again, they'll probably have to end up dropping him or trading him. But I don't think that anybody will even want him because he's immature, I guess you could say, in a way. And he makes bad decisions. I love Ja Morant, but he's not making smart decisions, and that could affect the whole organization by that one star player just making those bad decisions. That's going to be it for today's episode. Let me know what you guys think will happen with Ja Morant down in the comments below. And leave a like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next Sunday here on the Hoops and Stuff podcast.